Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How was that as an intro? Really got down to it. And look at this. I zoomed in a little bit to my setup over here. Before I get into today's let's just say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Want to make sure that how was that as an intro? Really got down to it. And look at that. Cool. My setup is on. Now, let me know what you think of the new angle. I spoke to somebody pretty close to me who has a pretty successful YouTube channel. The feedback he gave me was make sure I do that. I zoom in a little bit. I told him to I told him to poke around, and yeah, and that was something he got. The other thing he told me was don't do those pre-recorded videos in the way that I've been doing them. The way that I've been doing them was I thought I was some Fareed Zakaria or Michael Smerconish where I could read off a teleprompter and give a compelling statement. But he said, me being me, him knowing my personality, much better live and off the cuff instead of pre-recorded and stuff like that. Eventually, he said, I can work in some B-roll, some other content while I'm speaking to demonstrate my point. But, you know, that takes more production and yeah, which means more time. And as you guys know, work first when it comes to me. That's how that goes for me. Let me have this out here. Alrighty. Now I can look directly at you guys. Fantastic. Or not, right? Let me just do one more thing. All right. Anyways, big news night, right? And I'm trying not to make this Iran central, but nonetheless, we're in an active war. It sort of dominates our news cycle. Okay, here's a crazy idea before I get into things. I was doing some pondering the other day at the gym, and I'm thinking the Democrats are going to take over the House, and right now Kalshi and what's the other betting market are thinking that the Democrats are going to take over the Senate too, and they're going to impeach Trump. Would you impeach Trump for violating the Constitution and getting us into a war without the authorization of Congress? Presidents before have done this, but presidents before have done plenty of things Trump did, and the Dems said that this was very anti-Trump. Or I'm sorry, illegal. So there's an idea that I thought of. Hey, they may concoct something, just like in my opinion they did the first time. Yeah, that's my take on that. And what else? We're at 8:03. I want to blow it for another 2 more minutes. Let me know what you think of the channel so far, guys. We've been together for like 2.5 months at this point. Oh, think of how long we've come. You know, I have an animation, and I can't believe it. I've been showing up here every other day for 2.5 months. That's pretty cool. I will also be organizing a mingle of sorts. I'm gonna want to see everybody on video. It'll probably be on a Sunday. Yeah, I want to see everybody. And we do those anyways. So we'll do that. We'll do that on a Zoom. Just make sure you subscribe to my email lists because that's how the mingle information is going to get out. Okay. Enough about me, right? Let's get to the news. The news. Okay. I usually don't touch on Smerconish's newsletter because we're all subscribers. We can all view it on our own. But I'm going to have to take issue with something. Joe Kent was the deputy secretary. Was he head of the U.S. National Counterterrorism Center? Resigned, criticizing the U.S.-Israel war in Iran, and calling the war a result of Israeli pressure. I don't know if that's deserving of the lead story or the headline. I think there are more pressing things. Sure, it's important. For example, this is what I prepared for today. The Illinois primaries last night. I think they had six primaries that were huge. The New York Times had it as Illinois primary election takeaways, Stratton wins, and AIPAC's power is tested. Thune tackles the biggest test yet as the Senate launches the SAVE Act debate. Those I think are much bigger headlines. If you don't want to go with the whole Iran thing. The Guardian, Middle East crisis live. Israel strikes central Beirut as Iran vows the revenge killing of the Basij head. And Israel also killed or claimed to have killed Iran's intelligence minister last night. My God, they're picking them off one by one. Going back to yesterday's Smerconish program, when Richard Clark was saying how Iran is sort of distracting Israel, the world, from Israel doing what they want to do in Lebanon, and Michael added the West Bank. It was true. But a question I had for Richard Clark was, your advice to the president is to get up, get out of Iran, and by Clark's own admission, to not achieve the supposed mission of the United States. The supposed mission of the United States is to demilitarize, defang Iran, and maybe replace the regime, or facilitate regime change is probably a better way to do it. On that point, if Clark is saying get out now, what does that do? It doesn't do anything. So to Michael Smerconish's Saturday poll question, since we're in it, should we be in it to win it, or should we just stop and get out? Clark says stop and get out. I wish Michael would follow up with Clark and say, why, if we're in it to win it, wouldn't the world be safer if we won? And why would you say get up and get out? There's that issue that I had with the interview yesterday. Because I am in agreement with Michael in that since we're in it, how we got in it is a problem. I agree. But since we're in it, we better achieve our war aims. But let's define them first, right? But I do want to go into the Illinois results yesterday. So I'm going to read off a few headlines from across the spectrum, and you guys will conclude with it as you might, and then I'll go into it myself. CNN, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton wins Illinois Democratic primary for Senate. New York Times, I gave you this one already. Illinois primary election takeaways, Stratton wins, and AIPAC's power is tested. BBC, Juliana Stratton wins Illinois primary for U.S. Senate. Politico, King of Illinois, Pritzker swings Senate race as he targets Trump. Why does the New York Times introduce AIPAC? Why is Politico the only one mentioning Pritzker? CNN, BBC simply say Stratton wins the Democratic primary for Senate. So there's that. I did want to go into whatever was covered by the election last night, because I believe there were around 6 seats that AIPAC directly got involved in. And I think they put out a statement saying Bernie Sanders and other squad members endorsed somebody, so that means that we're going to oppose them. I'm not going to make this a whole AIPAC segment, but it was there was something going on with that yesterday. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to go into the primary results. Why is this not working here? It was five congressional districts, and the Senate was the sixth. That was it. Okay, so here's the piece I wanted to read out for you. Longtime Illinois Senator Durbin is retiring, leaving a competitive race that includes 2 U.S. representatives, lieutenant governor vying to replace him, with huge infusions of money coming from candidates outside groups, including donors affiliated with the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, that are spending millions to sway voters. Representatives running for Senate are leaving open contests for their seats, and other sitting Democratic representatives decided not to run for re-election. Among contenders are seasoned politicians, former lawmakers seeking comebacks, and progressive upstarts. No other mention really as to where they are. But the only thing I would read into this, the only thing I would read into, let's say, these hyper-local races, as far as a national scale, is where is the country trending? So let's say for the mayoral race in New York City, I think the country's left, the Democratic Party, is trending more extreme. That's why New York City, the way it ended up. But Illinois Democrats seem to have elected more centrists, or more center of left candidates is a better way to put it, than extreme left or progressive or whatever they call themselves these days. So you can tell my sentiment, right? That's really all I had to say about Illinois in terms of it showing its colors to the world. Next, I wanted to tackle the what's happening with the SAVE Act now. We already know that there are only 5 states that have enhanced driver's licenses. Apparently, if you have a real driver's license, it doesn't qualify. But an enhanced driver's license, I happen to have one, qualifies you as a U.S. citizen, where you can present that identification to vote. Otherwise, you would need a birth certificate, passport, or a military ID. Alternatively, you can present a real ID with another supplemental form of citizenship proof to vote. I don't know the pressure Trump is putting on the legislature, or putting on the Senate, to pass this bill. I mean, I know that he's publicly said he's not going to sign any bills until this is passed. And everybody's keeping an eye on the Cornyn race with Ken Paxton in Texas. And Ken Paxton said he would bow out if the SAVE Act is passed. So Senator Cornyn can, I guess, have or be awarded the Republican nomination for Senate. So I don't, and Thune is being pressed to get rid of the filibuster completely to pass this bill. The Senate, the House already passed it twice. I mean, I was seeing numbers yesterday. Under 0.05% of sampling showed that people without citizenship tried or did vote. Is it really worth this much headline and headache? I guess Trump wants to show something for voter integrity. Again, I'm not opposed to it, but it's just not practical. I mean, really, someone's going to, I think, what is it? A third of Congress doesn't have passports, or a third of Congress do have passports. And you're going to make people get passports to vote? Or or dig up their birth certificate? And does the birth certificate have to be original? Or what about a certified copy? I mean, this is wild stuff. I think, yeah, it just might disenfranchise a whole ton of people. I'm all for voter ID requirements nationwide. I'm all for it, but I mean, this is just impractical. Now there are talks that Thune is bringing back the speaking filibuster, where there has to be unlimited debate by someone speaking on the Senate floor instead of nowadays somebody sending an email to, I think it's the majority or minority leader, to exercise their filibuster. Now, if they do that, I was watching a good video by Chris Saliza the other day. He goes, amongst 47 senators, they can split it out nicely. And they can make a bunch of campaign ads and fundraising over it. Yeah. So that would actually backfire if he brings back the speaking filibuster. Let me check something else here. Okay, so there's that. The speaking filibuster. Let's just pull this up. And Lisa Murkowski voted against it along with the Democrats. Interesting, coming from the state where, what is it, digital voting is commencing. Axios. Senators are reluctant to put a timeline on how long the debate would last, though most suggested it could stretch about a week. Let's see what happens with this. Let's see what happens with this. All right, let's pick another headline I wanted to get into. Here's a Politico headline. AIPAC faces calls to reassess strategy after split results in Illinois. Alternative point of view. Oh, wow, this is all AIPAC centric. Axios, the squad, left faces complete wipeout. Oh, the squad left faces complete wipeout in Illinois Democratic primaries. That's Axios. MS Now, opinion, how AIPAC became a liability for Democrats in Illinois. Interesting. Cesar Chavez. All right, more on Joe Kent. All right, let's analyze this, right, from a wide variety here. Glenn Greenwald put out a piece saying Joe Kent's courage and conscience and the craven careerism of Tulsi Gabbard. Yahoo. Tulsi Gabbard's 2019 tweet comes back to haunt her. Quote, the U.S. must not go to war with Iran. Yahoo News. Another anti-war message from Tulsi Gabbard surfaces as DNI emerges to defend Iran war. There's no, I mean, it's a facet of politics, right? That you have to sort of eat shit. I mean, you have to in the end, you're not the one making the decision, somebody else is. And you don't have to agree with all of them, but you don't have to continue working for that person. In Kent's case, yeah, he resigned. But right for now, it's safe to assume Tulsi Gabbard expressed anti-Iran war sentiment in the past, but she is very much staying in place right now. I don't quite know how she feels, after the 12-day war. She was sort of embarrassed because 3 months prior, she sat in front of Congress saying there was no intelligence that Iran is capable of nuclear engagement of any sort, but they were. They were, and Israel went in on it, and the United States finished it off, whatever that means, right? Obliterated was the wrong word to use then. So that happened. Perhaps I missed a headline. Chief Justice of the United States Roberts defends the Supreme Court against Trump attacks. NBC News is saying Chief Justice John Roberts warns personal attacks on judges have got to stop. Was it the State of the Union? Was it Ketanji Brown Jackson? Maybe. See, Trump made some comments about directly. I'm not sure where Roberts came from, but I'm sure he had grounds to issue something like that. Okay, I didn't bring in some comments just yet, and I should because I like you guys. Give me a minute, and I'll get those rolling. Anyways, that's where we are so far. And let's get into the control room here. Perfect. Righty. Ooh, Jamal. Philly shut down 2 more screening checkpoints. I'm guessing TSA stuff, huh? Victor Perkins, good morning. Hamilton White, yes. So Clark said both objectives were not possible, and he recommended stopping the bombing. He did say get out. He said we can't win without boots on the ground. Clark has long held we needed to stop nuclear. Well, Hamilton, he did say specifically what he wanted us to do, and that it would be falling short. He used those words of those 2 objectives. Getting rid of nuclear, I mean, I think it's a good and both a bad thing that getting rid of nuclear, we didn't hear of it so far. I'm sure it's being thought about, but what's being done? I mean, I'm just expecting Trump or Netanyahu or somebody to come out the next day and say, hey, our forces extracted the nuclear material and we got it. Maybe it's by design, right? Desert Sunset, Huffington Post said, had an interesting article in Illinois advocating for ranked choice voting. Mentioning Jamal. Ranked choice voting? I'm so in favor, guys. I'm just so in favor. Robert, I haven't seen you comment for a while. Robert, I always believe in 3-hour rule. What's the 3-hour rule? Tammy, Republicans would rather have long lines rather than agree to reasonable restrictions on ICE. This is just stupid, in my opinion. I think you're talking about Republicans in general, not necessarily with the SAFE Act. I just have when it comes to having impractical solutions, both sides are guilty of it, right? Republicans have no solution to repealing Obamacare, and they have this impractical solution for voter safety and registration. But I mean, Democrats are really no better, right? They have what kind of system for immigration? An open and porous border. That was impractical. Jamal, I have mixed feelings about Starlink. Good, speedy, reliable service, but I despise the idea of tens of thousands more satellites in low Earth orbit between the damage they are doing to telescopic observations, debris, etc. I'm opposed to these constellations. Interesting. You're talking with Sean about that. I want to maybe I need to learn a little more about that. I didn't think more satellites in lower orbit were an issue, but I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, I guess Jamal, you're in Philly or you're in Pennsylvania at least. There was an asteroid that hit Ohio yesterday, and there were reports that people in Pennsylvania heard it. That's wild. I'm going to skip around a little bit, but you guys know I'm going to read every one of these comments. Sean, can I make the string on my hoodie more equal? It's bothering you. Well, let's try. I think this is pretty even. You got it, Sean. I got your back, man. And by the way, the Save SAVE Act is what's being discussed right now. But Senator Bill Cassidy presented a bill, the SAFE SAFE Act. That is an act I'd love to get into, and it's something where I have a business interest in doing so. So there's that. How long to implement these changes? I'm not sure what the legislation says. I'd be shocked if Smerconish didn't cover it on his own, though, in his interview about it. Suen, I don't know anyone who doesn't have to show ID to vote. Well, 36 states actually have some form of voter ID. It's 14 states and DC that don't. So that may have something to do with it. Forgive me, I forget where you're located. Sean Nichols, you need to mail your passport with your ballot. That's preposterous. Let me just scroll down a little more. Right. Yeah, Jamal. Yeah, Western PA and Ohio was a huge. Yeah, it was caught on multiple cameras. That was crazy. Victor, you're out at 20. I'll see you, man. Have a great day, and appreciated your message yesterday. Yes, Hamilton was a meteor. Yes, a meteor. Oh, you meant to ask Tammy if she saw or heard it, Jamal? Thanks, that's great. And yeah, ranked choice voting. Yeah, I'm so for it. I wanted to say one more thing. Yeah, so just one more thing. You guys know that I'm into baseball, and this had no place on the news that I was covering today. The World Baseball Classics last night, Venezuela versus the United States, was an absolute heartbreaker for America. Venezuela was up 2-0, top of the 8th, and Philly guy hit a 2-run home run to tie the U.S. with Venezuela, top of the 8th inning. But top of the 9th inning, Venezuela came back, and oh my God. I mean, they won it fair and square, right? But I tweeted out in the middle of the game when the U.S. was down 2-0. I asked them, hey, if Venezuela's going to win, we should just ship Maduro back. I figured that was a funny joke enough, right? Yes, Sean Nichols of Philly. I have to give it to you. Represented team, and Aaron Judge is not just he's just such a non-clutch superstar of today's baseball game. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to hit 30. Please reply with comments, feedback. I'm here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I should probably open with that for the newcomers. Hamilton, you're pretty good with this. Let me know how many we peaked at today. I didn't get a chance to see how many we were how many live streamers we had. But the last one went crazy. The last one we broke over 100 replays. So that was really cool. And that's all I have for you guys today, right? Bob, was Maduro at shortstop? Maybe. Covert operation could have been. Guys, wishing you a fantastic day. All the best. See you soon.